What's up, everybody? How are you guys doing? Gonna try to do more live streams. Had a lot of fun with the last one, and I actually remembered the Twitch today, so that should be going too. How's everybody doing today? Good to see you guys. What's up, everybody? Let me know if the music's too loud. Thank you, SideQuest. I appreciate it. All right. So, what's up, TK? What's up, Evie? Lux, 19 kilometers, Lunar. How are you guys all doing today? Okay. So, Mr. Neal, CEO of YouTube, Mr. Neal Mohan, has done an interview with a podcast called All In Podcast 3 days ago, where he turned down the music a little bit. I got you. Where he what's it called? Was talking about YouTube's landscape and AI and stuff like that. So figured we might as well watch it together live. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Let me know if the volume is good or not, and we'll go ahead and just do a live reaction. All right. Do this. Let me know if it's too loud, too quiet.
CEO of YouTube. I didn't realize that when I took over the CEO gig, a big part of my job would be being a straight man for a lot of YouTubers out there.
YouTube is now by far the biggest streamer in the world.
Shorts, I think, has just surpassed 70 billion views a day.
Mohan was one of the pioneers of internet advertising and keeping the world's largest creator economy afloat.
We think we're really still in the early days of our growth story and fulfilling what our mission is, which is to give everyone a voice and show them the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome YouTube CEO Neal Mohan.
Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Thanks.
A little loud?
Nice to see you. David, how are you?
All right, welcome, Neal. How are you? Neal.
Put subtitles on for you guys too.
Right now, I could have done that together.
I mean, you could have. What did you think? We talked to him a little bit about which platform is the most important. He said the one that pays us the most. You don't pay for content up front. You've done some experiments. You do it all with the 55% revenue split. You sweep 45%. Seems like you're doing pretty well. Are you taking too much money from creators?
Ooh. Wait, is this guy going to go in? Damn, he's asking the hard-hitting questions right away. Whoa.
Let's get into it.
Can we get that down to 30%?
Well, first of all, thank you all for having me. It's a privilege to be with you guys. Like they say, long-time listener, first-time caller, so it's great to be here with all of you.
Do you listen to the pod? Yeah.
I watch it.
Oh, you watch it. Where do you watch it? Where do you like?
Anybody else watch this podcast? I've never seen this podcast
on YouTube.
before.
Yes, we're there now. We are there now. Yes. Can you please be prepared?
Yes.
I didn't know we had a YouTube channel. Really? How's it doing?
How many folks watch it on YouTube? Just out of curiosity. There we go. All right. Okay.
Right. It's about half. Yeah.
Never heard of the podcast? Yeah, me neither.
You guys are close to 1 million subs, watch time, views.
Hey, thank you so much for the 5 gifted, Andrej GD. Appreciate it. Let's get some W's for him in the chat. Thank you so much, bro. Appreciate the kindness, man.
So congrats to all of you guys on that. But on your question, Jason, so we've paid out in the last 3 years over $70 billion to the creator economy. We are the original and
your main channel is Shadowban. Oh, how'd that happen?
Creator economy, and so
Well done.
And that innovation, which is called the YouTube Partner Program, is well over a decade now, the 55-45 that you're referring to. And so we pay out billions to creators. Creators, our media company partners, the music partners, et cetera. I'm using that term creator, and I'll use it for the next 30 minutes sort of in the broadest sense of the term. It's just that the way that we do it is very different. I mean, we're a creator economy in the true entrepreneurial sense of the word, which is if you're a creator on YouTube.
Thank you, Imaginary Land. I appreciate that.
Contrast to the traditional model, you're betting on yourself, which is kind of the opposite of sort of the way that traditional media models have worked. And as you grow, as your audience grows, as your success grows, your monetization grows, your business grows as well. And not every creator on our platform is going to become, Mr. Beast or Dude Perfect, but there are, north of 3 million creators that are in that partner program today earning revenue.
Back to my question, I feel like you've created all
the Twitch
these
stream
stars,
broke? No, it's working for me.
and you look at the Tuckers, you look at the Megans, we'll put ourselves maybe.
He didn't really answer the question, by the way.
We all choose to turn off.
The question was, is YouTube taking away too much from creators? And he basically said, yeah, as your channel grows, you can make more money. But he didn't necessarily answer the question. I think the revenue split, for the most part, is fine. But yeah, he didn't really answer the question.
Monetization because the take rate's too high and we can do it better ourselves. Should you not start to think about two classes of folks, the up-and-comers who don't have sales teams, who don't have distributions, maybe it's, it's more about building an audience, and then maybe looking at the folks like us slightly differently. And this seems to be a weakness in your game. Your take?
I would say that the way
going
I
kind of
think
in on
about
him.
it,
He doesn't speak for us.
I speak for myself. No, but the point
I
is,
just want to be clear that I love you.
I mean, I think it's a good question, though. I mean, obviously, YouTube should consider the smaller content creators and not just the huge ones. So, yeah, I think it's a fair question, honestly.
or at this level, take it on themselves because the 45% is just an absurdly high take rate for that level of person, the Tuckers, the Megans, they'd rather just bake their ads in. So how do you think about that level of folks? They participate, but you don't monetize them.
I think that's not the way I would characterize it, first of all. I think the way that I think about it is all of these monetization models should be available to you depending on what your business objectives are and what they're not. And I've talked to a bunch of you guys about sort of how you think about that monetization question and what's important versus audience building and not. And by the way, it's the same type of conversation that happens with sports leagues or studios or what have you. And so my vision on all of this is whatever model works for you as a creator, podcast or what have you, should be the model that you adopt. And so, for example, you take what Tucker's doing and Megan's doing, and they have had enormous success on our platform, mostly driven because they're incredibly talented at what they do. And the audience and the algorithm have figured that out. But it might be that the monetization model that works best is something where they're representing their inventory themselves. And that, I think, is less about sort of take rate or what have you, but sort of the best way to actually package it up.
I've noticed in Neal's catchphrase is really, what have you. He says that a lot. Let's do a what have you counter on the stream.
The way that I think about it, but if you're a creator getting started today, you're not even concerned with that at all because the monetization is really only a byproduct of what you've been able to do from an audience engagement standpoint.
The net is what matters, right? At the end of the day,
that's my point.
If take rate's 55, 20, 90, if you're making more money doing this than other things.
I mean, a great example again, just
because the algorithm, and maybe you can speak to the quality of the algorithm and the ads placement. You come from the ads business, you were DoubleClick.
Yeah.
How good YouTube's ad placement and ad quality is relative to other platforms, and how that actually increases.
Hey, I'll tell you one thing: it's definitely better than Twitch. If you go on anyone's Twitch stream right now and you don't have an ad block on, you're most likely going to have to sit through a 2-minute video before you can even watch the stream. Facts. I mean, YouTube's ad system is not great in terms of how many there are. I mean, YouTube has so many ads, but compared to Twitch, YouTube's better than Twitch, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I'd say on that is it's two things. One is, obviously we invest very heavily in making it so that the advertising you see, whether you're watching YouTube on a television screen or on your phones or your laptops, is relevant, it's targeted, the creative formats are there. We are a platform that caters to advertisers that are brand advertisers, brand builders, as well as, direct response. And so that is a big area of investment. But the reason why...
Yeah, I don't think it does Flitch. I think Brave does, though. The Brave browser, I'm pretty sure works on Twitch. But you didn't hear that from me.
And I spend a lot of time talking to advertisers. Why they're also excited about the ROI is that the engagement is differentiated. And that turns into ROI for advertisers. And what I mean by that...
Yeah, I agree, 19. I've done a lot of videos on that.
If you go to YouTube, you are really leaned into what you're watching. You are a Mr. Beast
What's up, Pamela? How are you?
fan. You're a Michelle Khare super fan. You're a name your favorite creator super fan, and that is a different type of engagement that actually translates into different ROI, regardless of where your objectives are in the marketing funnel. And
that's how it used to be, Alexa. It used to be that anybody could just monetize anything on YouTube, like no matter how many subscribers they have. But I think it was probably like 5 or 6 years ago, they made that threshold.
That's our secret sauce. That's where this $70 billion that we pay out to the creator economy and all these hundreds of thousands of jobs that we create in the creator ecosystem on a daily basis come from.
Let me just up-level this in more general question. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, the cable channels and the way that we consumed content was largely live. We would tune in for shows, and one of the byproducts of that was national culture, right? There would be these things that would enter the zeitgeist, and we'd all talk about it, and we would be unified by it. And on the plus side of all of this infinite distribution is you get to watch what you want. The downside of it is there's really no connective thread almost that we all talk about that's the same. How does YouTube view that problem? Is it a problem? Like, is there a responsibility, or are there things that you can do to kind of make things that are a little bit less on demand, a little bit more, appointment viewing that kind of builds identity and culture?
I'm going to be honest. Yeah. I hope this is them warming up to some of the more hard-hitting questions, because these are not like the best questions so far. I mean, you gotta I feel like there's so many good questions you can ask Neal, and it doesn't have to be in a hostile way. I mean, if it was me asking him questions, I would be like, what do you think about the fact that there's so many NSFW ads on YouTube right now? What do you think about the fact that, in July, out of the top 100 fastest growing creators, 10 of them were AI? What do you think about, the amount of comment bots on YouTube, stuff like that? Like, I feel like they're not asking him the right stuff about YouTube's problems. You know what I mean?
I think it's a really interesting question. And again,
like the comment section. I want to watch the interview first. I'm down to do that after, though.
Consequences of what you're talking about vis-a-vis.
Like, if I was to do an interview with Neal, I mean, he would never do one with me, but if I was to do one with him, I wouldn't be coming at him like calling him a piece of shit or anything, but I would ask him some hard-hitting questions. Tell me what you guys plan to do to fix these things on YouTube. Is YouTube going to be YouTube, or is it going to be AI tube? I would want to know those types of things,
Phones right now, that YouTube feed of yours is going to look like you, right? Like, it really is about what you're genuinely interested in and watching, and that can lead to that type of that fragmentation that you're describing. Having
definitely
said that,
if you ask, yeah, probably. I've gotten censored on YouTube quite a lot. I mean, right now my channel is going through a period where my videos aren't getting pushed into recommended anymore. It is what it is. I'm just used to it at this point. So if you guys could like the video, I'd appreciate that. Help push the stream out.
A Gen Z or millennial, sort of what were the top 4 or 5 sort of really big sort of breakout pop culture trends? A lot of them are actually an aggregation of a lot of these types of things, and they could be trends that might be not the most relevant to all of us or this audience, but they are for a particular sort of age group.
We'll
and
see.
So the answer is that we do see a lot of those sort of national, and in many cases, because YouTube's a global platform, 2 billion people come to it every single day. There's enough aggregation, even amongst these sort of niche areas where you...
No way that stat is real. 2 billion people are on YouTube every day? That's crazy if that's true. That's wild.
There's enough aggregation, even amongst these sort of niche areas where you do see some of that. The other thing that I will say about sort of how I think about it is, I do think
if it was like 2 billion a month, I would agree with that. But 2 billion people every day, 1/4 of the planet is on YouTube every day. I don't know about that one.
Live and sort of like those water cooler type moments are really important. You saw the biggest one of those happen on YouTube just 2 days ago.
How many of that
Brazil game that Ari was mentioning was on YouTube.
Yeah.
And the reason why it was such a success, I would argue, is because of that aperture, what YouTube can obviously do from a reach standpoint. But the other reason, and to the NFL's credit, was you guys saw how relevant we were trying to make it for kind of this YouTube generation. And again, you obviously saw the integration with things like Destroying and Mr. Beast in the actual live stream of the game itself. but that sort of creator engagement through the lens of creators is something that sports leagues are leading to, which is sort of like what I describe as a new water cooler moment.
What percent of watched media minutes do you guys have, do you think? If you look at all media, broadcast, movies.
I mean, you guys know we're
Netflix.
We're the #1 streaming platform here in the U.S. So I think the latest Nielsen
here in
number
the U.S. Isn't YouTube the #1 streaming platform in the world? Pretty sure it's in the world, right?
And we've been the #1 streamer in the U.S. here for 2 years. And I think the latest Nielsen number was, I think, something about roughly 13-14% of the TV watching audience. But remember, that number doesn't include YouTube on mobile.
I see.
And so it's a
Well, it's gotta be
television
big.
number.
But to Ari's point, do you see that growing? Are people spending more time consuming media because it's more personalized, it's more engaging, and they're finding perhaps more free time?
I mean, I do. I mean, look, our numbers are growing. I think other streaming platforms are growing. Other, mobile platforms are growing. I think if you look at sort of the totality of sort of human time, it's still sort of a relatively, small portion.
Hey, thank
of
you
that.
so much. It's Matthew. Hi, DeepHumor. Love your videos. Thank you, buddy.
To a different topic.
Appreciate you. Let's get some W's for Matthew. Very kind message, dude.
Second, I think during COVID, there's a real sense that the censorship was out of control on social media, not just YouTube, but Twitter, Facebook, all of them.
You guys are so nice.
If you question the efficacy of vaccines or social distancing, or even on topics like the trans agenda or even climate change, there was a risk that you could be censored or shadow banned or demonetized. It feels like the industry's kind of pulled back from that, and things have opened up again. And a lot of that's, I think, due to what Elon did in terms of buying Twitter and opening things back up. I guess my question is, has the industry actually learned from that, or is censorship just on pause during the Trump years?
There's another
this guy's got jokes.
I like it.
Get into it. Right. I like it. That's why I'm here.
It's a great question. Yeah.
I think that actually I'll just say a couple things about that, and one of them will sound it's sort of actually connecting the dots between the questions that you guys asked, which is, the way I answered Dave's question is, first of all, I think a lot of all of these platforms are actually pretty different, right? Like what Twitter does is different than what some of the meta platforms do, which of course is very different than what YouTube does, and you could argue, as witness from the rest of this conversation, that we probably have a lot more similarity with a streaming platform than we do with a social media platform. So that's one point, but I think it's an important context into what I'm about to say. And the reason I say that is because 99% of what happens on YouTube is all the creators that I talked about, all the podcasters, the Taylor Swifts of the world, all the music, obviously. Music is our largest and most important vertical, for example. We're a music platform. So that is like, even during COVID, that is where a lot of the watch time on YouTube versus a discourse that might be happening in a social feed somewhere. That doesn't mean that we don't have comments on our videos and all that sort of piece, which is where some of this, discourse that you're alluding to, David, might have happened. I do think, so I think that at the highest level, I do think that there is something about the fact that that was a very different time. I remember kind of March, April of 2020 where like, oh my God, like, do you get this way, or is it this way, or mask, or this, or I mean, I literally woke up one day and there were like people climbing 5G cell towers and falling from cell towers, because now it was like you could literally get the thing from cell towers. But it sounds crazy today, but that was the nature of sort of the types of things that were popping up.
So some lessons learned or regrets there?
But let me just finish. So that's the context in which we were having to sort of make some of these decisions.
So
Fast
let me
forward
fucking
to today,
finish, buddy.
like obviously in a completely different world.
You gotta be a
just
little
in
bit
terms
more
of-
concise, though. I think he's been talking for about 3 hours straight. I kind of
nature
lost
of the
track.
beast.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not gonna act like I've been following every word. It's been tough for me to follow this specific point that he's making.
and all that sort of a thing. So all of those sort of policies that existed back then are non-existent today. And it's my way of answering your question of like,
Saying you
well,
don't know what
is
he's
it
trying
a
to
temporal
say. Yeah,
thing or not? I would argue that a lot
you got to
of
be
these sort
concise,
of
like especially like in an interview setting with an audience. Like you want to make sure the audience can follow what you're saying. like your point that you're making shouldn't be longer than like 20 seconds. You know, I'm not some sort of speech expert. I'm just saying, like, we all have short attention spans nowadays. I'm trying to process what he's saying, but it's tough. I don't know.
And by the way, YouTube in particular was criticized to an extreme amount because of all the content that we left up on the platform around, you know, the Wuhan virus controversy, around, like, you know, whatever, all sorts of other things that we were leaving up that other places were acting differently on. And so we got beat up a lot, sort of from one side of the spectrum then, and I think that our approach really just has to be flexible to the environment and the context of it. I think we're always going to get criticized by being an open platform. There's a lot of magic that happens because of the open platform. All these amazing creators wouldn't exist if we didn't have an open platform and we didn't stand for free speech, but there's also a lot of criticism.
Hold on, I just want to follow up on this, if I may. There are two categories that I have in my feed because of the algorithm: firearms and poker. Both of those groups of creators are a little bit up in arms, no pun intended, because they are being demonetized. So how do you make a decision on who's allowed to earn and who's not allowed to earn and be part of the ad network? Poker folks and people who do firearm safety and firearm training and best practices, they're demonetized and they're complaining about it now. How do you make those kind of decisions?
A lot of them are incredibly successful creators on our platform, Jason.
But not monetized?
No. So many of them are monetized as well. So we do have a clear set of rules, and we've had these for a long time.
I think it would have been nice for, okay, I don't know this guy's name. I think they just said Jason, the guy who asked the question. I think it would have been nice for him to bring up an example of who he's talking about, right? Because when you just say, oh, people in these two categories are demonetized, but if you bring up an example, we might be able to tell you why or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, because I can't think of any firearm or poker content creators. Maybe you guys can think of some in the comments. I don't know.
Monetized as well. So we do have
the only firearm YouTuber I knew, because I'm old, is FPS Russia. Anyone know him?
Rules, and we've had these for a long time in terms of sales of.
Hey, thanks for the $5. Is that dollars? Thank you for the $5, Andrej. Hey, DeepHumor, my main channel is blocked from commenting from, I don't know, someone wrongfully blocked my main channel from mods. I don't know. I mean, I don't think, I don't have channel mods that can block comments normally. They can only do it on live streams. So, but I don't think that's the case. But thank you for the donation. Thank you, Naz, for your $10 donation. Hey, DH, how are you? I just want to say I've seen your vids, and I thank you for keeping us updated on a lot of things that's been happening. I hope things can be resolved as we move forward. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate the kind words, Naz. Let's get some W's. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Firearms and those types of things, and obviously there's legal frameworks and all those types of things around it. But I think, you know, in terms of firearms community and learning about firearms and safety, which obviously is an important thing, especially for young people, we're one of the largest places where those audiences exist, as well as monetization of that type of content.
You're awesome, Naz. Thank you so much, man.
And, you know, obviously, and some of this comes from you know, experts that we've worked with in that vertical itself around something might be appropriate for an adult user of that type of content that may not be appropriate for a child, and those types of things. So there's a lot of nuance behind it. But the poker, are we like, there's probably something around
sports
gambling legality and all that sort of stuff. But generally speaking, as you guys know, there's an enormous amount of poker content that's incredibly successful on our platform. It's back to what Chamath was saying, which is like, whatever niche there is out there, however big or however small, you're going to find a set of creators that are just as passionate about it as you are.
I think the interesting question is, how do you organize yourself across all the different countries you're in and the scale that you're at to deal with the cultural nuances of every different country, and then to deal with the laws of every different country, and then to deal, as David said, sometimes the vicissitudes of social policy in every country? How do you deal with that organizationally? Like, what does that actually look like?
But before he answers this question, man, like, hold on. Okay, they start asking about AI around here. Guys, like, I get it. This is obviously done in some sort of professional setting in front of an audience or stuff like that, but I feel like they're not asking him good questions. Like, if you want to interview the CEO of YouTube, you should ask him about the good and bad of YouTube, and especially with the whole, what do you call it? what's the thing called, Sora 2, with that whole thing going on right now from OpenAI, wouldn't it be better to ask him more questions about AI moderation and AI slop and the comment bots and the NSFW ads? And, you know, like, I feel like they're not asking the right questions, but that's just me.
Yeah, it's the part that turns my hair white. But look, I think part of it, I say this to my team all the time, which is, it is a challenge, right? But I think it's a challenge that, honestly, like, I view it as a bit of a privilege in the sense that it wouldn't be important if we weren't such an important place, especially for young people, to connect, get information, entertain themselves, learning. We're the largest learning platform in the world.
Probably
we know
afraid
that,
of lawsuits or something. You're not gonna get a lawsuit against you for asking him a question, you know? Like, if you ask him, hey, what do you think about the NSFW ads on YouTube? You can't get sued for asking a question, you know? Like, especially in that type of interview setting.
And
plus, if you're gonna interview the CEO of YouTube, you should be willing to push the boundaries and ask him some certain types of questions. I mean, it's not like we already know what he's gonna say. He's gonna say something along the lines of, oh, you know, we screen our ads regularly and make sure that type of content isn't on YouTube. I just mean, like, if you're gonna be interviewing a YouTube CEO, don't be scared to ask him some tough questions. You might as well not interview him at all then. You guys agree or disagree? I mean, if I'm going to interview the CEO, I'm not going to be a douchebag to him, but I am going to press him hard for some answers. I want some answers on some of the problems on YouTube, you know?
Use cases and the watch time, etc. And so, at least from my standpoint, I try to be as global as we possibly can in terms of principles. You know, one of the things that I always say about YouTube is, like, you know, our North Star principle, and, you know, has always been give everyone a voice and show them the world. That's our mission statement. It stands for freedom of expression, freedom of speech. We are, you know, an American company, and that notion, that sort of value of freedom of speech is core to our ethos. And we really do try to start with that as a global position. Having said that, you're right. Like, there is an enormous patchwork of legislation and regulation that exists in every country.
Are there people that are writing policies that then some folks just have to understand, and they're manually trying to react to, here's how we deal with this issue in India, here's how we deal with this issue in Brazil, here's how we deal with it in France?
Yeah, I mean, look, the answer is...
or is it algorithmic, or is it a combination?
It's always some combination, because, you know, the scale of YouTube is, you know, hundreds of hours.
The thing about Neal is that he's actually pretty well spoken. Like, he's actually pretty good at speaking publicly. He just needs to learn how to be more nuanced with what he says. Like, when you ask him a question, he goes over like a whole soliloquy, like a 3-4 minute speech, and it's like, dude, just give me a basic answer to the question, please. You know,
the content is uploaded.
You gotta learn to be
YouTube
more concise,
every
I would
single
say.
minute of every single day. We want to be as core to that North Star as possible, and, you know, frankly, there's situations where we have to push back on that core, push back on sort of what might be an encroachment on that sort of a principle. Having said that, we also, of course, you know, have to legally operate in all of these countries, just like any other platform.
There's 3 products, Neal, I'm super obsessed with, and I just would love to get your take on them in terms of priorities for you. YouTube TV, unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
YouTube Red.
I will say, man, YouTube TV ads are pretty shitty. They're long as hell, dude.
YouTube Red, which I think is YouTube Premium, taking the ads off. Unbelievable.
YouTube Red. I don't remember it being referred to that in a while. YouTube Premium used to be called YouTube Red, for those of you guys that don't know.
I think a sleeper is you've kind of built in Patreon-like functionality subscriptions. So maybe you could walk us through the footprint of each of those and the prioritization of those, because they do seem to have had a significant impact on engagement and how people look at the platform.
Yeah, no, and I'm super proud of all 3 of those products. As a product guy myself, like, that's the fun part of the job, is actually building all of these amazing products. And you know, the origin story on YouTube TV, I'm a sports nut. And actually the people on my team, a lot of them who've been involved with YouTube TV since the very early days, are also big sports guys, and I'm also a news junkie. And that's the core use case of YouTube TV in many ways. If you think about sort of the features that we built, multi-view, key plays, even some of the fantasy integrations that you see. So that's the lens through which you should think about how we're going to continue to develop that product. And the question I would always
Mr. Beast
get is
can't
like,
buy
well, why are you
YouTube tip top? He doesn't have enough money. YouTube is too expensive for someone like Mr. Beast to buy. It would have to be like a combination of like the richest people in the world to be able to buy YouTube.
guys doing this? Like, look at what's happening to that part of the paid ecosystem, right? Like, why are you diving into this thing that's like this sort of like, you know, shrinking thing? And our thought was like, well, a lot of it has to do with the fact that like reinventing that whole experience from the standpoint of a fan or a consumer. And so that's the YouTube TV origin and sort of where it's going. The one thing that you should, you know, pay attention to is something that we call primetime channels in YouTube. Which
yeah, he doesn't. It's not.
A lot of
Mr. Beast
those
doesn't have
same
that
sort
much
of
money.
linear channels or sort of traditional media channels, but that you can buy.
He would not be able to buy
in
YouTube.
the main YouTube app.
Yeah.
And so that there's connectivity between those two products.
Yeah, I was wondering when that would happen, because for me it's just CNBC. I want to have it inside of YouTube, but I have to load it, and then when I travel, it's always like, oh, what region are you in? Premium, how many premium subscribers are there now? How is that growing? How does that affect the ad business? Because for me, the ads are dead.
I hope he knows a number. I'd like to hear this number.
So how do you think about that?
Yeah, I do think that for our business, advertising is going to remain, is today and will remain the predominant way through which we monetize on behalf of creators. That 70 billion number that I mentioned, most of it comes from ads. And the reason is because, you know, at a fundamental level,
it doesn't seem like he knows the answer. Let's Google it. How many people have YouTube Premium? As of 2025, over 125 million people worldwide have YouTube Premium. Damn. That's a lot of people. Sheesh.
Platform of scale, 2 billion people come to it every single day. Having said that, like
he keeps saying that, but there's no way that is true. We are a platform of scale that 2 billion people come to every day. How many people use YouTube every day? There's no way it's 2 billion. Over 122 million people use YouTube daily. Yeah. I think he's misspeaking. He means a month. He means per month. There's no way that 2 billion people use YouTube every day. Let me rehear what he said to make sure that's what he said.
You know, at a fundamental level, we are a platform of scale. 2 billion people come to it every single day.
Yeah, he's misspeaking. Dude, there's no way that 2 billion people use YouTube every day. There's no way.
Having said that, like giving consumer choice, you know, uninterrupted experience is important. There's about 125 million subscribers.
125 million.
YouTube Premium.
Amazing.
Oh, there you
go.
go.
How
He
does
doesn't
that
know the
money
number.
get split with the creator? So if I'm watching Mr. Beast without ads, how do you?
There's a kind of roughly sort of engagement watch time type calculation.
And is YouTube TV basically the biggest cable subscriber base equivalent?
Joss, I appreciate it.
Are you?
Yeah.
You know,
my voice is awful though, but thank you.
Actually, you know, it's interesting the way that even the way you guys are talking about it is like, well, that's like your uninterrupted sort of TV subscription tier, which is how I think lots of people think about it.
Right.
The origin of YouTube Premium was actually a music subscription service, right? It was like called YouTube Music and Premium. And so a lot of those 125 million subs are not just people who are watching it just the way that they would watch, like, you know, Netflix or Amazon without ads. There's a lot of that.
Thank you, Alexa.
It is just
appreciate it.
music fans too, like people for whom their music service is actually is YouTube, right? Like where they discover music, where they listen to, you know, or watch their favorite videos is YouTube.
Has anything been said yet about anything? He's vaguely answered some somewhat pressing questions, like about censorship and stuff like that, but we're just about to get to the AI part, like literally in the next few seconds. So if you just joined, you joined at a good time.
Uninterrupted music service.
When you have all these incredible AI models all over the place, people will be generating all kinds of content. Some of that content could be news content, topical content. You know, it could talk about
I don't even think Elon Musk has enough money to buy YouTube Conga. I know it's not calculated by net worth, but just for argument's sake, how much is YouTube worth? YouTube is valued between 575 billion to 550 billion. Elon Musk's net worth. If he sold all of his assets, I don't even think. Okay, actually, if he sold everything he has, he might be able to buy it. But yes, my point is that obviously he's not going to do that. So there's no singular person that can buy YouTube, according to what we know. There might be some other super rich people out there that don't have their net worths public, but you know what I mean.
Do you guys feel you have a responsibility to figure out whether that's real or not? Do you think that's the role of the actual creators? Do you think it should be, the CDC should have a YouTube channel where they watermark the stuff that they put out, and then...
We're in the AI part now, by the way, guys, so this should be the interesting stuff.
Whose responsibility is this going to be?
Yeah, I think
and how much of it is our responsibility as a consumer?
I mean, look, I think that here's how I think about it. First, with the growth of these AI enablement tools, you're going to see that like the distinction between like, was it completely AI generated, was it AI assisted, et cetera, is going to be a continuum. So that's the first piece. And we're already seeing that. We see that on YouTube. Obviously, you open up the YouTube app, you hit that plus button, you can type in a text prompt and it will generate a video for you using our VO models, right? So that is already happening. One of the things that we do...
Which sucks, by the way. I know they're not going to get rid of that, but I hope they do, because that has opened the floodgates to a lot of slop content on YouTube.
There is a label that says that, hashtag AI generated, and we will put that, we call it sort of front of the box. We will literally put that on the video in some cases. Usually it's in the metadata. That's obviously not foolproof. But I think the way, at least from a principle standpoint, the way I think about it is, YouTube has these, community guidelines. We try to be transparent about them. We publish them on our website. And I think that sort of like a priori distinction between, well, it was AI generated, therefore it must be violative versus not, actually is not the way to do it. And it's really just about giving as much transparency to the users as possible. And then the other thing that's really important is in the creator business, in the creativity business, whether you're a Hollywood celebrity or a YouTuber or an artist, the thing that I hear over and over that they really care about is their likeness. And so if you're Taylor Swift, it's your voice. If you're, Marquez Brownlee, it is your face, like your livelihood.
It's your...
No, I mean, it's there are people doing live Chamath things to give Bitcoin away, and I send it to him, and I report it sometimes.
No, I send it to Neal.
Yeah, I send it to Neal.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, the AI slop issue is getting bad.
Send it to me directly instead of tagging me.
The issue really is, like, I'm a Corvette fan, and...
so now we're getting into the actual AI slop part. Like, he literally just said the word AI slop.
The incentive is so perverse. I've had to ban a bunch of these channels that show me thumbnails of this is the new Corvette, this is the new prototype, and it's AI slop. And it's obvious what they're doing is they're trying to insert themselves into the algorithm, and then I just ban them. So you do give control, but I do think labeling them is important.
And I don't want to put the burden on you to do that. I think the labeling is one piece, but the thing that I was going to say is the other thing, and we have a track record of Content ID, which is basically the rights management system that you could argue basically created that whole creator economy in the first place.
And enabled YouTube's success.
Correct.
Saved YouTube.
So Content ID is, think about that metaphor as it applies to AI.
Yeah, wonderful.
So we are working on this notion of, I call it sort of likeness detection, where if...
Okay, I'm going to let him make his point, but this would be an easy way to do it. You know how on the homepage of YouTube, and you can even see it right over here a little bit on like the recommended video section, you have like these categories and stuff like that, right? We should be able to have a category on our homepage that filters out all AI. Not a single AI video shows up on my homepage if I choose to filter it out. Would that not be the easiest solution? Obviously, I would rather AI slop not be on the platform to begin with, because it's entering the algorithm and it's overtaking actual content creators and views. But if you guys are going to be insistent on kissing AI's ass and you want it on the platform, fine. Let me filter that shit out though, so I don't have to see it. I mean, I don't think this is rocket science. I feel like that would be the easiest solution.
It's a Chamath face. The algorithm should be good enough to actually detect that and then give you a choice as to whether that should come down.
Right.
Does that come down? Right. Or, you know, there might be some creators that choose to monetize it and give, so giving creators
so we can take
control is
ownership
important.
of it.
You can take ownership of it.
So if people take our clips, make versions of us as dogs or something.
And for us, it's not just words. We actually have a track record of doing that because of something like Content ID.
Ladies and gentlemen, Neal Mohan.
Neal, thanks for being here. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah. The interview wasn't great. I'm going to be honest. It could have been a lot better. But as someone suggested earlier, let's go ahead and read some of the comments. I think this will be fun. I'm going to be honest. And I think this was, you know, because it was in a professional setting, like whatever I said earlier. The people doing the interview did not do a good job. I'll just keep it real. They did not ask him the right questions. They didn't press him when he avoided a question. I felt like I just watched 28 minutes of just non-arguments. You know what I mean? It sounds like you guys agree looking at the comments. But yeah, let's go ahead and read some of these comments over here. Hopefully the comments are not kissing the interview's asses. Okay. Okay, here we go. Translation: if we deem something as an emergency, we will censor again. Okay, so that's a comment against him. Makes me sad that content creators have to use code words to speak in America or else just self-censor so their videos aren't removed or demonetized. Okay, so it looks like a lot of the comments are critical of him. Politician answers, nice. Hey, thank you so much, Randomness Kevin. I appreciate that, dude. Thank you for the kind words. Corpo Speak is a masterclass in how to make nothing burgers. He's a politician. He said so many words but didn't really say anything. What a waste of time. I would agree. It was done in a way where he would sit, like, he would get asked a question and he would make his quote point for like 2.5 minutes straight, but I didn't actually follow what he said because I got bored like 40 seconds in, you know? I don't know. That's a case of someone who says a lot without saying anything, pretty much. He did not answer the questions regarding censorship. He only used word salad to distract. Yep, true. I gotta agree. I have to agree. Great Mohan's interview on 25. Great questions were asked, not a single direct answer. I kind of disagree. I think the questions weren't that great, I'm gonna be honest. I think there are a few questions that were compelling, but I think for the most part they asked him questions that were easy to avoid, you know? Glad Jason can ask probing/pushy questions to make the discussion more interesting. Okay. He didn't apologize or commit to not censoring speech again. Yeah, so it looks like a lot of people were against him in the comment section here. So that makes me happy to see that a lot of people weren't happy with the interview, because I'll be honest, it wasn't a good interview. Like, there wasn't a lot of questions actually get answered. But I mean, it's an interview, I guess. Not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed. I was hoping for better, but hey, that's what it is. So yeah, this stream was just supposed to be for the interview. Like I said, it could have been a lot better. I actually disagree with some people in the comments. I don't think the interviewers did a good job. I'll be totally honest. But yeah, that's just what I think. Let me know what you guys think. I think we'll just call it here. I don't have anything else for today. So unless you guys have like some last minute questions for me, we're going to call it a day here. Anybody got anything for me? But damn, you guys, yep. I mean, I agree with most of the points you guys are making. But yeah, I don't have anything else. So we'll call it a day here. Thank you guys for joining me. Make sure you guys join our Discord. Link is in the description. That way you guys can get notified of when we stream. So thank you guys. I appreciate everybody. I also uploaded a video today, so definitely go check that out. It's about Critical getting possibly sued. But yeah, take care, guys. Be sure to like the stream, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.